Why is everyone hating on oatmeal lately? Join me to dive into the science-based facts on oatmeal. Lately, I've seen lots of videos bashing oatmeal, and I've had some people reach out about this, so I wanted to bust this myth and address some of these crazy claims. So in this video, you'll see me react to some of the crazy claims made about oatmeal, and then I'll share some real facts, backed by research. But before I get into it, and believe me, I'm going all in here, I want to do a little PSA. Please stop the fear-mongering and fear-inducing stuff around food. It is not helpful. And why are people picking a fight with humble and nourishing oatmeal? I've seen influencers and doctors who claim that oatmeal is one of the worst foods you can eat. Really? I mean, really, you can't think of one other food that's worse? For one, oatmeal is a staple in many cultures. It's cheap, it's nutritious, and provides nourishment for many people daily. So to say it's a dangerous food is just fear-mongering BS. In this video, I'm going to address a few of the oatmeal claims. If I'd hit them all, this video would probably be 2 hours long. So if you have specific questions about other crazy health claims related to oatmeal you've heard, drop me a comment and I'll address it, or I'll even make a second video. To start off, let's go with the first oatmeal video that was sent to me. It's from Thomas DeLauer and Dr. Paul Saladino, who claims that oatmeal is the most dangerous food humans can eat. That's a pretty big claim. Let's see what they have to say.
Lots of recent stuff on oats. So what's going on here? Okay, we've got a lot of people that will tout benefits of oats, ranging from soluble fiber down to resistant starch, overnight oats, et cetera, et cetera. So on the surface, looks pretty benign, but you've got some interesting stuff. So what have you found here?
Man, I'm going hard on oats right now, and I'm so stoked about it. It's just, I think that oats are probably the worst breakfast you could possibly eat. And this is coming from a guy who used to buy 50-pound bags of oats in defense chemicals. So let's just start with this defense chemical in oats, and we'll get to all the other reasons oats are problematic, called saponins. Saponins are this kind of soapy substance that also occurs on the outside of things like quinoa, another darling in the health industry that I think is not good for humans at all. But saponins have been found in cell culture and many animal studies to be very problematic for the human gut. And they're not easily degraded with cooking. They're very resilient to cooking. So when you're eating your oatmeal, you are just giving your body saponins, these compounds that are meant to be there as defense chemicals. The oats don't want you eating their seeds that are harming your guts.
The oats don't want you eating their seeds that are harming your guts? Ew, let's unpack this for a second. The oats have feelings now and can talk? I just can't. We're gonna move beyond that one. Saponins are phytochemicals that help plants protect themselves from pests and other pathogens. And saponins are found in a lot of plant foods, not just oats. So again, why are we specifically hating on oatmeal? Saponins are found in beans, lentils, chickpeas, also spinach, onion, quinoa, garlic, yams, sunflower seeds, the list continues. And research shows that saponins have a positive effect on gut health, including prebiotic effects and anti-inflammatory effects. I actually tried to find the animal study that he referred to from the video, where he said saponins were found harmful for the human gut. And this is where I wish people making these claims would list their sources. The only study I could find was from 1986. And this was done in vitro, meaning that it was done in a lab test tube situation where saponins were indicated to possibly increase small intestinal mucosal cell permeability. But again, that study was from 38 years ago and done in a lab beaker test tube situation, not with humans. And about the harming your guts part, actually, current research suggests that oats can beneficially alter the composition of our gut microbiome and promote the synthesis of short-chain fatty acids. And it is noted that we need more research, more clinical trials to dive into this even further.
Phytic acid, which is this compound that chelates minerals, and that's present in significant quantities in oats. So If you are cooking your oats, you might degrade the phytic acid 40%. Fermentation does more. So if you do overnight oats and they're truly fermented, you're gonna get rid of more phytic acid. But a lot of people are not overnight fermenting their oats. And if they're cooking it, they're still gonna have at least half of the phytic acid in there. And so the problem with phytic acid is that any mineral-rich foods that you eat with the oats won't have the same nutritional value because that phytic acid will chelate those minerals and prevent their absorption.
Okay, let's jump into this next claim. Phytic acid. Phytic acid is found in grains like oats, rye, wheat. It's found in beans like kidney beans, lentils, soybeans, and it's also found in nuts, peanuts, almonds, walnuts, and cashews. And each of these foods have varied phytic acid content. Phytic acid is known to chelate minerals, which means to bind them and then make them unavailable for our body to absorb. So phytic acid specifically binds zinc, iron, calcium, and magnesium. But here's the thing. Phytic acid is known to be largely reduced or removed by a few methods. Cooking, milling, soaking like overnight oats, and that fermentation he mentioned. And there was even a study that microwaving oats helps reduce phytic acid. And then these anti-nutrient claims about phytic acid impacts only diets that are poor in trace elements and high in phytic acid intake. So if you eat a pretty balanced diet, phytic acid is really a non-issue. And phytic acid has actually been shown to have some health benefits. He didn't mention that, did he? It has been shown to have some potent antioxidant properties and anti-cancer properties. And then as more research comes out on this, I'll be sure to share it with you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that the carbohydrates in the oats are the problem. I think it's the heavy metals, the saponins, the mold toxins, the phytic acid, the pesticides. It's not a great food for humans. But in terms of the glucose spike, we've talked about it before, but I don't fear that. I think that's normal human physiology that your body is ready for. Your body, in some ways, I think it's a signal of abundance for humans. We see insulin released. That's not a bad thing. Insulin has valuable roles in the human body when you eat carbohydrates and your blood sugar goes up.
Okay, I agree with you here. I don't see a problem for oats related to our glycemic index or glycemic response or insulin response. They are a carbohydrate, and when we eat carbohydrates, our blood sugar is naturally going to rise. I actually agree with you here. Now on to the second video that was sent to me about oatmeal. Let's see what Dr. Berg has to say about why he thinks oatmeal is unhealthy.
So the first thing I want to dive into, I'm going to put a bunch of studies down below so you can verify what I'm saying is true, is some studies done on oatmeal in relationship to blood sugars and insulin, as well as cholesterol. Now, when you read these studies, it does definitely say that there's a significant improvement in cholesterol, as well as blood sugars. Okay, both. And that's pretty exciting. I mean, like, wow, because if something is cholesterol friendly or it's blood sugar friendly, then, sign me up. But if you actually read the studies, it will say there's a significant decrease in cholesterol and blood glucose compared to the control. Now, what does this mean compared to a control? What is that all about? Well, you're comparing it to something else, right? And that comparison is white bread. That's right, white bread. So if you compare anything to white bread, it's going to be better in a significant way. So let's say, for example, you eat some white bread, okay? And let's say it spikes your blood sugars by 10 points. And then when you eat the oats, it only spikes your blood sugars by 5 points. And then we can say in the study, there's a significant difference. There's a much less, like 50% less spike in blood sugars than the controls. But that 50% improvement is not just, adding this to your diet and seeing an improvement in blood sugars. It's compared to something else. And then when you read on in the study, it says the improvement in blood sugars only occurred right after the meal, okay? It didn't occur later on, probably because there's a nice spike of blood glucose when you eat white bread. So that was one point.
Which is what naturally happens when we eat, our blood sugar rises.
The other thing that they mentioned in the studies is that part of the study was just consuming 3 grams of beta glucan, not consuming oatmeal, but just that compound, and that created a lowering of cholesterol. And so then by inference, we can just say, well, there's beta glucan in oats. And just by deductive reasoning, it then must create the same effect. But that's a little confusing because that's an isolated compound versus eating it as a whole
Agree.
grain. And then there's other studies that 29 participants enrolled in the study. They all had diabetes, and they did not see any change with blood glucose levels between the two. So when we talk about the benefit, there's only certain studies they're talking about. And so when they quote it's heart healthy, they're kind of cherry picking certain parts of studies. And
Oh boy, buddy, you are cherry picking parts of this study too. Dr. Berg wants to point out in his video that the research control for this study was all white bread. Well, guess what? I read the research too, and only one of the 9 studies compared oatmeal to white bread. The other studies compared various diets that included oatmeal in them to a person's baseline, their regular stats. And it did also include that isolated beta glucan that he mentioned. So while I agree that oatmeal would naturally show improved blood sugar data compared to white bread, because white bread is the highest of the glycemic index foods, meaning it really raises a person's blood sugar very, very quickly. So if you're going to get into the details of the study and act as if you're sharing some unknown data or you're kind of revealing some truth, do not pick and choose what you want to share in order for the data and the research to tell the angle of the story that you want to tell. You have to share the full truth. And the full truth is the research states in their conclusion that the consumption of oats on glucose and lipid profiles in patients with type 2 diabetes is beneficial and therefore could be recommended to patients. Let's wrap this craziness up and get positive. For some people, oats are wonderful. They help them feel full and satisfied. They provide nutrients like vitamins and minerals and wonderful fiber. Other people might not tolerate oats as well. And guess what? We're all different. We have different gut microbiomes, different taste preferences. So as you will find me saying in other videos, nutrition recommendations should always be individualized. And let's stop trying to demonize foods just for the sake of clicks. This is a really harmful tactic and one of the reasons I made this video in the first place, to balance the crazy out there. Now for some positives on oats. There's research that shows that consuming oats can help to lower cholesterol, it can help with our digestive health with its fiber content, along with the antioxidant properties that I mentioned earlier. And I don't know about you, but when I eat oatmeal, it helps keep me full for a long time. Plus, oatmeal is considered one of the most cost-effective food sources for underconsumed nutrients and food groups. So, don't fear the oatmeal. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this helped clear up some of the craziness that is abounding the internet on oatmeal. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button below and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every Thursday with nutrition tips like this one and healthy recipes. So I will see you in the next video. Until then, eat well, be well, thrive.